Hi, I'm Michael Cerami, and I'm part of the team at CPA.com. And I am very excited to talk to you here today about what else? AI, but more specifically, AI in accounting and finance. While the buzz around AI continues, some might say hype. It's now more than ever that firms have an increasing appetite to hear about specific use cases in accounting and finance. And we're going to touch on that a little bit here today. We're at a very exciting point in time, I think an inflection point for AI, where we're kind of moving from that phase of assistive chat into what we're calling agentic AI. I'm really excited to talk with my good friend and colleague, Ariege Misherghi. Ariege is the SVP and GM of Accounts Payable and the Accountant Channel at Bill, a longstanding partner of ours here at CPA.com. And Ariege is going to speak to me a little bit about this shift, but more importantly, how firms can kind of capitalize on this movement, especially for those of you that are running cash practices. So, Ariege, welcome. It's great to be with you here today.
Thank you so much, Michael. I'm glad to be here.
Great. Well, so Ariege, talk a little bit. I mean, again, agentic is a very hot topic right now. Again, we wake up every day and think about it in the context of the accounting profession. Personally, what I think is so exciting about it is that firms view it as a real opportunity, an opportunity really for, particularly agentic as this kind of digital labor force that they can leverage when I think it can be applied to, larger, more complex tasks, but also niche tasks. And there's some real benefits behind it. I think they see it as a efficiency and increased capacity. They see it as a way to maybe improve outcomes. They see it as a way to create new capabilities. And so I think that's pretty exciting for practitioners. At the same time, I think they're trying to figure out, how to really fully take advantage of it. But curious to hear a little bit of your thinking on this, this movement, into agentic.
Yeah, I think you're right that we're seeing the use of the word, agentic refer to, product experiences a lot these days. And businesses and firms, I think, are going to benefit from the investment. One thing that I am seeing is that a lot of these products that are using this, this word agentic are really creating enhanced automation. And enhanced automation is great. You had a workflow, it's now more efficient. But I have a point of view that's iterative in nature at this stage. And when I think about agents, what makes them agentic is that they have autonomy to perform work on your behalf. And as a result, work is eliminated, not just automated. I think touchless transactions are the future of fintech, where receipts reconcile themselves, W-9s are collected automatically, and books balance, without firms having to lift a finger. For accountants, this isn't just about efficiency. To your point, it's about capacity. It's about doing more for clients without adding headcount. How else are you going to make room for advisory? Something's got to give.
Yeah, I completely agree. And this elimination of work concept should not be wrapped in this fear factor. I mean, the elimination of work means, again, create efficiency, create capacity, focus on more strategic work that, the client places a great deal of value on. And that's not just lip service. I think there's an opportunity to do that, and it may require firms rethink, roles within the firm, rethink workflow, rethink how they upskill their teams. But I think there is a higher plane of value that they can deliver on. And I also think one of the misconceptions out there as firms think about how do I navigate AI or what it means for me is they think of it in the context of what do they need to be doing specifically. What I talk to practitioners and professionals all day long is I think a lot of this change, specifically in the near term, the greatest impact is going to come from trusted solutions and partners that they already work with that are building, these tools and capabilities into their existing platforms. And Bill's a great example of that. And I think what I'm really excited to unpack with you here today is you guys are really beginning to roll out some specific use cases in the Bill platform that are going to have real impact for firms. So I wanted to talk with you a little bit about that here today.
Yeah, for sure. Michael, you and I have had conversations on this topic before, and I know one of the things that you shared with me is that, firms are, debating whether to build their own tech, and some are kind of leaning into the development of their own agents, which might be right for some. But, you kind of left me thinking about that quite a bit. And I think, what you're talking about now on the dependency on these tech partners is probably the right for most firms. Like, I have a point of view through those conversations that, in just about all cases, it's probably not the best scenario to start by in-house development. I think firms
Right.
should hold their tech partners like Bill, accountable for leveraging technology to their advantage.
Completely agree. And I think what firms need to do is just get smarter about how to evaluate a partner's roadmap and the investments that they're making that are going to benefit them in their practice. And then I think the firm, it's incumbent upon the firm to think about, okay, with this progress, again, it comes back to how do I think differently about maybe some of the existing workflows and processes that I have in place that need to change because of some of the developments that you all are making. So let's jump in, Ariege. Maybe I talk about a couple of the big roadmap issues you all are rolling out right now that firms should be pretty excited about.
Yeah, for sure. I there's a lot that I'm really excited about, and I'm particularly enthused about the kind of work that we're doing because, in my mind, it does a couple of things. Number one is enables firms to scale, and number two, it's super inclusive. Like, it doesn't matter how large or small of a firm you are, if you set up the right tech stack and you allow yourself to benefit from streamlined workflows, you can then rely on tech companies to take a good chunk of this burden off your plate by driving more efficiency through the elimination of those workflows. And we've got a really big vision for AI. I get excited. What gets me out of bed every morning is the idea of, like, completely risk-free AP, helping firms scale capacity without scaling headcount. We have a lot of things in the works, but I'm particularly excited about the things that we're releasing because the experiences, number one, are built to address, like, universal pains that every business, every firm understands, like, really down, in a very visceral way. We're solving those pains in totally novel ways. And number two, the experiences that we're building, as I said, are truly agentic. They're not just automation, it's total workflow elimination. Um, and the first that I'll share with you is our W9 agent, which is completely novel. It's the first of its kind in the industry. And Michael, I'll just start by asking you, does CPA.com work with vendors?
Way many than I would, more than I would care to imagine. But yes, ton of vendors.
Do you need to file 1099s for any of the vendors for whom you've paid?
Absolutely.
And may I ask who the poor soul is at CPA.com that has to chase down those vendors all the way down to collecting those W9s?
It's certainly not Michael, and thankfully, and I know what a pain point it is for our finance team. We've actually talked about this feature that you're sharing with us here today, and there was a lot of excitement on the other end of the discussion.
Yeah, I love that that you're a customer and that you're, an active participant in this beta. The challenge there is, like, it's wild to think about the amount of work in such a simple task. There's
Yeah,
so much back and forth, to get any W9. It's hugely time crunched because usually you're realizing that you're missing these W9s when you're in the middle of January with only days to spare to collect them. And at that point, you have no leverage to collect them because the vendors have already paid you at that point, right? So it's
sure.
very hard, to get their attention, as your AP team, I'm sure, is aware. And even if you do get back a W9, you're not going to know if the TIN is accurate and the business name is accurate until you file the 1099 with the IRS and you get back a chunk of rejections. It's insane.
Yeah,
Um,
this is exactly the type of busy work that I mean, just going to save a ton of time and a ton of pain. So
it,
great,
it,
great application of AI.
Thank you for that, and thank your AP team for all their service and all the work that they've done to this point in advance of having this W-9 agent. It's a lot that you had been asking of them, that all of us have been asking of our teams to do this and track it down. And now you're a great boss, Michael. You got him on our W-9 agent, and what's going to happen now is that it's automatically going to request those W-9s from every vendor you work with. No matter how many back and forths there are between the agent and your vendor, we're going to work through any questions that your vendor has and ultimately get to the point where we land that W-9. It's going to track every step of that collection process in a tight audit trail. And you can intervene at any stage. Your team can pop in at any stage to audit what it's doing, see what it's doing, look at the conversations it's having, and intervene if you want to. And not only does it collect the W-9s, but it also improves on the workflow. It pre-validates those W-9s so that
That's
you're
great.
not in a you're not in a situation where the IRS is rejecting the 1099s, right? Like,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
so this agent is performing all of that on your behalf. It's eliminating workflow. It's improving on the workflow. And what we've seen from this beta that your team has participated in is that 80% of the manual steps are in fact being eliminated. We see potential for it to collect over 3 million W-9s for our customers and to save them an estimated 650,000 hours of work. I when I think about what we're doing here, I just, and I think about the accounting professional community and how much they're drowning in paperwork. I just think to myself, don't chase paperwork. Get your time back. Spend it in your client relationships. Spend it creating value for your clients. You don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, Ariege, it's use a baseball analogy. It's World Series, I guess, season, but I don't know if you classify that as a base hit or a double, but those are just big, impactful steps. I mean, Bill has over 9,000 firms on its platform, and with rolling out, feature functionality like that just overnight can make really make a major pain point go away and just bring efficiency at the drop of a hat. And that's impactful. So that's something to really be excited about. And I know, I had the privilege of being recently with you at the Bill Accountant Advisory Council, where we rolled this out, exposed this to some of the biggest users of the platform, and to affirm there was a lot of enthusiasm around this functionality. So it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of enthusiasm for this W-9 agent, and there was feedback that we got too. That council that you're talking about, that was just a month or two ago. It wasn't more than 8 weeks ago. And we heard a lot of enthusiasm about our W-9 agent. And we also got feedback when we were talking to that group about our agent lineup. And one of the reasons I joined Bill is because of the relationship that Bill has with the accounting professional community. And Michael, you know this, but I've worked with accounting professionals my entire career. I am so attracted to this group because I feel like we have this shared mission, and it always goes back to doing right for your clients, to helping
Right.
these businesses succeed. And I'm just so attracted to that energy. And it's such a privilege to be a part of Bill. I've been here for about a year. And so when we got feedback at council, we internalized that and immediately shifted and expanded our roadmap to include some other things. So one example of the feedback that we heard was, all of the work you're doing is great. Wildly excited about W-9 and several of the other agents that we're working through. And also, there was a push for us to think about investing in the reconciliation process, investing in coding specifically. And we have invested in coding. And not only have we invested in coding, but we've also shifted our AI roadmap, our agent roadmap, to focus on it. So we also, another agent that I'd love to share is our expense and reconciliation agent. So our expense reconciliation agent is now functioning against our bill divvy card application, and it automatically codes and reconciles receipts. Since rollout, we've seen a 533% increase in fully AI coded transactions. And not only have we seen that massive increase, but 92% accuracy is what we're seeing coming out
Wow.
of this agent on day one.
That's
So we're on
fantastic.
track to serve tens of thousands of businesses are going to be served, by the end of the year, a major reduction in manual expense reconciliation, all because we got feedback just a few days ago or just a few weeks ago. I'm super proud of the pace at which we're attacking these problems.
That's great, Ariege. I mean, and again, to your other comment, when I think about firms and how they're again thinking about leveraging AI, um, you guys have a long-standing track record of delivering value through the accountant community. And so I think one of the biggest decisions that firms need to make is trusting, whom there's a lot of shiny new objects out there, a lot of like red herrings, exciting new tools. But again, it comes back to the old kind of Clayton Christensen concept of what is the job to get done. So to the degree that your trusted partners are rolling out feature functionality that is helping you get, with the job to be done. That's a pretty exciting concept. But really, I think where firms need to focus on, and you guys clearly have that kind of track record with this community, and that's great. I mean, I don't know if there's anything else on the roadmap maybe you want to touch on. I know you're feeling pretty confident that we're going to be iterating on this, at pace with a regular frequency, and I think that bodes really well for the accountant community.
Yeah, there's lots more on the horizon. I mean, I'm talking an expansion of the expense reconciliation agent into AP, touchless client onboarding, touchless assistance that eliminate bill pre-processing altogether, assisting with approvals, and so much more. So you're right, there's a lot coming. I just fundamentally don't believe that agents are going to be replacing accountants. I know there are lots of companies that do. I've never believed that, but instead, I do believe that the work we're doing is going to completely transform the workflows and eliminate work so that firms can scale and get smarter.
I think it's well said. I mean, again, I think the fear factor is overplayed. I talk to a lot of firms, particularly for smaller firms, who see this as the great equalizer, an opportunity to really, level up. I mean, I'm sure there's practitioners out there who enjoy running down W-9s, but at the end of the day, I,
Really?
I
Show
think
me them. I've
they're,
never met
I think at the end of the day, it's that type of, those types of advancements that are really just going to create a lot of capacity in the system. So it's exciting. So hopefully, again, with that, Ariege, we'll have opportunity to talk more frequently about, more and more roadmap items, but maybe give you final word just on, Bill's, public platform vision for AI. I mean, how are you all thinking about it at the end of the day?
Yeah, I mean, look, Bill's mission is to empower the Fortune 5 million, the small and mid-sized businesses and the accounting professionals who serve them. They make the economy run. And with 500,000 customers, you mentioned our 9,000 accounting firms and moving 1% of GDP, we have the scale to build smarter, more trustworthy agents that just work for you. We're here to delete friction. And that's the future that we're building together.
Well, it's exciting times to read. It's great spending a few minutes with you here today. As you know, enjoy working with you and look forward to seeing you again soon. And a big thank you to everybody for tuning in for a few minutes. It's been great unpacking this latest in AI with you. Thank
Thank you.
you.